So all of you have studied religion to some extent before, right? So when you study religion, what do you study in it? Well, not about any particular age or any particular religion, forget that. If I just give you a black box of religion, you are not sure which era it is, which land it is, and which religion it contains. What would you like to know about it? Hmm? Okay. Tenets. So doctrine, idol, and see, first of all, you need to define who you are, right? If you are a seeker or if you are a religious person yourself, then you want to go the traditional way. कैसे भक्ति करनी है, etc. If you are an anthropologist, you got a different perspective altogether. If you are a rationalist, you have a different perspective. And if you are a UPSC student, you have a different perspective. Philosophers have their own way of looking at things. There are some people who study world religions. There are some people who follow one religion very particularly. They have different requirements. So you need to define who you are first, and then you have the requisite equipment at your hand to study the religion. As a student for UPSC civil services, what would you want to study? Simply, as you said, there is this question of God. Some religions have many gods, some have only one God, some have one God plus other subsidiary gods. That is one thing, number of gods and their power relation between them, structure, hierarchy of gods and their powers. Then gods originate in some context, and there have been debates in past between anthropologists and between sociologists, where did and how did religion begin. So did it begin from natural powers? Even in that you have two things, one is awe of nature and other is being fearful of these unknown factors that go all around. So, superstitious is a negative word with negative connotation. Okay. But religions, some people say, emerge to some extent from natural appreciation and fear of natural phenomena, which you can't understand. कि बिजली क्यों चमकती है पता नहीं, लेकिन घर तो जल जाता है, ठीक? So you you want to up to certain satisfy them, propitiate them, make them full so that they don't come and create problems for you. That is one way of looking at. Other is just your awe and beauty and harmony and regularity of seasons and movements and everything. How does it happen? I don't know. There must be something beyond it. So naturalism is one set of reasons from which people say religions emerged. Other could be totemism. Totems are symbols of your lineage or family or clan, something. So you have that kind of. So for example, my forefathers and their forefathers are represented by Bengal tiger. So Bengal tiger is a symbol or totem of my family or my lineage or my kul. तो मैं उसकी पूजा आई एम एक्चुअली प्रेजिंग और वर्शिपिंग माई फोर फादर्स इन द फॉर्म ऑफ दैट बंगाल टाइगर or Niyamgiri Parvat for tribals. You have many other things. Then you generally seem to happen to have in all the tribal cults and ancient religions some due regard for fertility, divine goddess, okay, mother goddess. So fertility cult has been very important. So these are generally three things: fertility cult, totems, and all of them intermingle, by the way. They are not clinically separate. So you have the origin of gods. So you have numbers of God and their hierarchy. You have origin of God, powers of God, etc. God or gods, whatever. Genders of God, God, goddesses. And then from this emerge relationship between gods as well. कौन किसका चाचा, किसका बेटा, किसका भतीजा, right? So you have something called as pantheon. And then you have various stories around gods. And these stories give rise to life after death, life before death, kahan jayega, kaise jayega, hell, heaven, and various gods at various levels in hells and heavens. So you have mythology. Mythology is an inseparable part of any religion, and it is a mark of development of religion. So you also have mythology. And this mythology is associated with that structure of universe, which is supposedly created by God or not. Right? We talked about it yesterday. So you have creation of what? cosmos. So you have stories of creationism, you have cosmology of its own religion. For example, in Buddhism, if you visit Tibet, in Tibet they have these mandala drawings, mandala paintings. And what do they represent in mandala paintings? A lot of them are about Buddhist cosmology. कहाँ पे स्वर्ग है, कहाँ पे नरक है, उसका स्ट्रक्चर क्या है. If you go to Christianity, a lot of stories of heaven and hell. It has its own cosmology, right? Then you have from this samsara or recycle of birth and death, if you believe in that, or if not life after death, वहाँ पे judgment आएगा, damnation होगा, whatever. You have this atma or soul and its travel, it's coming to life again, not coming to life again. And इस सबसे आपको मुक्ति चाहिए, मोक्ष, निर्वाण, salvation, right? So the philosophical part which give you direction towards how to achieve that moksha is called as soteriology. I am just giving some terms. You don't need to know them as but still. So God, Godhead, mythology, creation, cosmology, soteriology are all elements of religion. In every religion, some are more prominent, some are not more prominent, but still. Apart from that, what else do you have? Some religions are created by some messengers, historic personas, right? So you have some messenger. For example, we say Paigambar. What is Paigambar? The one who brings Paigam, the message. In Arabic, there is no syllable for pa. If you know Arabic, alif be te se jim che hek hai. So alif be pe te se nahi hai usme. तो प नहीं है. So in Arabic they call it Rasul. Rasul is the one who brings Risala, again the message. When it comes to Persian, you have p being added to the vocabulary. So you have Paigambar. So Farsi people would call him Paigambar, Arabic people call Rasul. So you have one messenger or one creator or one founder. In Buddhism you have a founder for religion. In Hinduism you don't have anybody. So some religions have, some don't have. But there is this person generally associated, if not with the religion, with some at least sect or cult. So you have religion, you have sects, and you have cults as well. Individual cults which generally sometimes mature into sects, or religion which fragments into sects. It goes both ways. Okay. Then you have this messenger or founder, his life story plus message. The life story which gives that message. In religious term, that story includes lot of chamatkars, miracles, right? बुद्ध के बाद में मिराकल्स है, पैगंबर के मिराकल्स है, साक्षात्कार होता है, भगवान आता है, कुछ बोलता है. जीसस के बारे में भी, yes, full of miracles. These miracles may or may not be historical true, that's not our domain over here. But the point is, these miracles through the life of that God, what are they trying to give? They are trying to give the story, the message of the God or the person. तो उसका एक मैसेज होता है, तो मैसेज जाता है थ्रू लाइफ. सो द बायोग्राफी ऑफ सच सेंट्स और गॉडली पीपल in tradition is called hagiography. I am just giving you terms. So you have hagiography. See, before studying all the religions, Hinduism, in which you have Vedic religion, Upanishadic, Brahmanical, Puranic, Jaina, Buddha, in Buddhist you have Mahayana, between Hinayan there are some 10 other things there. Sometimes there have been 2 or 3 times questions asked on Sikhism as well in the last 30 years. Although it has been not for last 5 साल पूछा नहीं अब तक, लेकिन सिखिज्म के बारे में 2-3 बार सवाल आ चुका है. पॉइंट इज बिफोर स्टडिंग ऑल दिस रिलीजियस यू नीड टू नो कि रिलीजन का स्ट्रक्चर क्या होता है. देन व्हाट डू you have historical part of religion. Why did it emerge? One, how did it spread? Why it became popular in certain regions? Who were the patrons, the kings or other people, merchants, whomsoever? And that also shapes the religion like anything. The Sikhism in the initial days was altogether different than the Sikhism when a lot of Jat peasants became part of it. The whole tenor of Sikhism changed because of its assimilating Jat population historically. So your founder, his life story, origin, spread, decline की story, right? You have all these stories for religion, for also individual sect, and also for cults. So you have a meta story for Buddhism, in that you have a story for Mahayana, in that you have a story for its own subsect, emergence, spread, decline. Then you have books and saints और important other people, disciples etc. हर एक की अपनी किताब होती है. अब किताब का कॉन्टेक्स्ट अलग अलग होता है, वो इंस्पायर्ड है कि एक्सपायर्ड है. जैसे कि एक बार आई थिंक विवेकानंद सेड अबाउट हिंदुइज्म, फॉर द वेस्ट और अब्राहमिक रिलीजन्स बुक्स आर इंस्पायर्ड, and for Hindus or Indic religion books are expired. To what level you can criticize them, etc. There are a lot of things over there. Anyway, books and saints, you have councils and debates. So you have doctrinal issues. Etc. So point is, whenever you study religion, we need to know that we are studying all these things. It is just not a random collection of important facts. It has a context. That is one thing. Now come to religions, history of religions in India. What are we going to study in that? By the way, functional aspect अगर आप देखते हो religion का, तो why do religions exist? What functions do they satisfy? Of community creation. Good thing. One is community creation. You bring people on same plane, same emotional level. You have some common things between you. You create identity. It also defines external boundary too. So once you have obliterated internal boundaries, you have established external boundaries. So community creation comes with othering. For the people who lie outside community, they are not yours anymore. Although you might have complete human perspective of looking at them, but community creation is a functional aspect, then othering is its dysfunctional aspect. It's a binary. Then social control, ethical aspect, moral aspect, what is good, what is not good, what to do, sanskaras, right? You want to make people, you have to make these savage people noble so that they live in society and don't become nuisance, right? So you have social control. These are typical sociological aspects. So that's why in every religion you have ethical aspect as well. Ethical part is there for that level. वहाँ पे आपको inspire करेंगे. At the same time, they will make you afraid of doing wrong thing as well. पाप लगेगा, ब्रह्म हत्या का पाप, गंगा स्नान करो, कहाँ जाके अपना कर्म का ये करोगे, जो कुछ है. In every religion it is there. ठीक है, यहाँ से आपके दोनों के थ्रू आपके पर्सनल लॉज भी आते हैं. बट एनीवे, एंड देयर इज थर्ड थिंग, इज जो इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे you have some existential questions, your pent up emotions. So existential questions को भी religion answer करने की कोशिश करती है अपनी अपनी तरह. So in all religions you have these three basic functions, and for each function there is dysfunction as well. For example, community creation, I just tell you are othering. For social control, religions are supposed to bring ethics in your life, peace and spirituality. But we also see a lot of wars happening because of religion. So हर एक का एक बाइनरी डिसफंक्शन भी है. एनीवे, दैट इज नॉट आवर पॉइंट. पॉइंट इज व्हेन वी स्टडी रिलीजन, व्हाट डू वी स्टडी? दैट वी हैव सीन structural aspect and functional aspect. Now we need to see the evolutionary aspect of religion in India. Just a glimpse of what we will study for next 4 days. See, in a module of 10-15 lectures, I am supposed to teach religion at least for 1/3 of lectures. If I don't do it, I am doing disservice. Only by going by the proportion of previous year questions, 1/3 questions come from religion. So any teacher who is not teaching 30, 35, 40%, who is not giving that much of time of art and culture to religion, is not teaching the complete syllabus. Keep that as a benchmark in your mind. Okay? Anyway, so when you come to Indic religions, so to say, religions in India, what are the phases of evolution? मैडम आप बताइए. Where does it begin? Obviously some lithic era, Paleolithic, Mesolithic. We don't know much about that. We have only existence of some artifacts, some artistic, supposedly artistic goods, some painting, from which we can extract something based on. There is a word called as cognitive archaeology, but we don't need to go into that. आपको ऑप्शनल क्या है सर, इसलिए आपको पता है, ठीक है. So, but let us move that aside. Prehistoric part, let us not consider it as a syllabus. We have proto-history or prehistory based on how you define it. That is Hadappa. You know history, prehistory, proto-history. फर्क पता है क्या होता है? What is the difference between history, prehistory, and proto-history?
Like artifacts we use for prehistory.
Okay.
Like tools.
Okay.
Tools like
But what does it mean? History. Yes, history comes after emergence of script, language, and writing. It has been said about Arunachal Pradesh at one point of time in a very disparagious way. It's not a very courteous way. Arunachal has no history, it has only geography. गलत बात थी लेकिन लोग बोलते थे. पॉइंट है कि हिस्ट्री क्योंकि ट्राइबल कम्युनिटी थी, उनके वॉरफेयर चलते थे, सो दैट डजंट गिव ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड ऑफ इवोल्यूशन. वो तो फिर एंथ्रोपोलॉजी का पार्ट हो गया. हिस्ट्री में यू हैव टू हैव रिटन रिकॉर्ड्स. So the date from which you have written records is part of history. So earliest written records that are available to us, if not written at that time, but at least composed, created at that time, that is Vedas. That is the oldest literature available to us today. We can't go before that. So Vedic religion is the time when we see beginning of history in India. Before that we have prehistory. But in between comes Hadappa. They knew writing. They have a script, but we can't read it. The moment we decipher it, it will become part of history. Till then it is either prehistory or so to say proto-history. There is another interesting dynamic as well. Let us say European history, for example. You have Roman and Greek, especially Greek, early Greek kingdoms, city kingdoms, and Roman Empire as well. And they talk a lot about attacks from north, from Germanic tribes, etc. At that time there was no German language, but from that region. Now they also had their own states over there, their own tribal polity or even city polity. We don't know. Howsoever developed it, maybe we have no idea. But the point is they have not left any record that we can read today. What we know about them is from their contemporary but Greek culture or Roman culture. They are talking about their enemies. भाई उत्तर से आ रहे हैं, हमला कर रहे हैं, कपड़े ऐसे हैं, भाषा ऐसी है, खाते ऐसे हैं, बोलते ऐसे. So we know about them through second-hand resource, second-hand source. So it is contemporary, but for Greek it is history, and for those tribes it is proto-history or prehistory. Although they belong to same area and same time span, because one is writing, one is not writing. Okay. Anyway, point is for us we begin in Hadappa, which is a kind of proto-history for us. So we'll see first of all Hadappa religion, and the source for it will be not written records but artifacts and structures, right? Next we come to a disruption area and in Vedic religion. So we have Vedic religion, which then matures into Upanishads, and later on we have 6th century BCE का revolt, intellectual revolt. I am just trying to trace the timeline which we already know, but let me establish that first in your mind clearly. Then I will see how I am dividing into parts, and then we are going lecture by lecture about it. Okay? Then you have 6th century, let us call it Manthan or intellectual fervor. What all orthodox and heterodox philosophies were there, उनके क्या क्या views थे, ख्याल थे, point of view थे, from which we have emergence of primarily Buddhism and Jainism. And this Vedic religion is also now maturing into gradually Hinduism later on. So now you have 3 streams going along parallelly. In Buddhism, you have initial life of Buddha, then 4 councils, Ashoka comes and goes, Kanishka comes and goes, a lot of things happen, right? So you have entire evolution of Buddhism over here till the Pala Empire. Jainism also you have entire evolution, but Jainism did not spread as much as Buddhism spread. Jainism retained its holds, it spread very gradually, but it is very tenacious, right? So Buddhism and Jainism, and here you have, by the time you reach Gupta era, let us say this is Gupta era, you have emergence of Puranic Hinduism. In South India, you also have at the same time Alvars and Nainars, that is Bhakti religion, which then goes to various acharyas. We have to study 5 or 6 acharyas and their contribution. Afterwards, what happens? You come back to North India, so you have North Indian Bhakti. And various saints from various regions, from all east and west and north and center, everywhere. We have to talk about them. In North Indian Bhakti, you have this, therefore, Sagun and Nirgun. At the same time, various other things are happening in India. For example, if you go to Kerala, by the time you reach 1st century CE, you have arrival of one of the apostles, Christian church into India, Syrian church at that time, oldest church, right? Augustus was a Roman king, no. So you have Christianity coming to India. In the early medieval, when you go over here and medieval, you have Islam coming to India. Actually, Islam did not come at that time. Islam had already come to India in South India. The first mosque was built when even Paigambar was alive. Cheraman Juma Masjid. There is a river in Kerala called Bharatpura River. Have you heard of that? Bharatpura. It's a river which is very famous because of interesting observation. On the banks of that river, you have 3 important structures or centers of 3 important religions. One is, there is a very famous church that was built at that time. Then secondly, the masjid that was built when the Paigambar was alive, Cheraman Juma Masjid, it's very nearby. And thirdly, there is a village of Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, Keldi. It's on the bank of Bharatpura again. So Hinduism, Christianity and Islam, all 3 religions have major places in India on the banks of Bharatpura river, which North Indians don't know. I don't know for what reason. Sorry. Anyway, so Islam. And the interesting part of Islam for us here, as far as our syllabus is concerned, is Sufism. So you have Bhakti plus Sufi. And throughout this entire evolution, we have various important kings and their contributions. For example, Ashoka, Kanishka, Akbar, Krishnadevaraya, etc. Krishnadevaraya had a huge role to play in preservation of Vedas because Vijayanagara Empire patronized whom? Not Krishnadevaraya per se, but Vijayanagara Empire. Saranacharya. Saranacharya wrote commentaries on Vedas which were later on used by Max Muller. Okay. Anyway, we'll talk about all those things. So this would be the evolution. Today, we'll talk about Harappa and Vedic. It is lecture number 1. Right? Then we'll go for Buddhism and this thing. Hopefully, it will be taken in lecture number 2. Then you have Jainism and some of these parts in lecture number 3. And then you have this and lecture number 4. So we'll take at least 4 lectures for religion. After that, you will be able to solve 1/3 of art and culture questions with your eyes closed. Okay. Let us go ahead. So let us take out this thing or handout, first handout. That is Harappan civilization previous year questions. If you see the questions that have been asked, there have been only 7 questions since last 25 years. Okay. In last 25-30 years that I could find, only 7 questions. And few of them questions are not specifically only Harappa. They are generic question of cross comparison in which one of the options is Harappa. So what we are concerned about today is the religion of Harappa and not entire Harappan civilization. That's not part of this lecture now. As I said, the script is not deciphered yet. Okay. You solve these questions on your own. The script is not deciphered yet. Therefore, we don't know what these people meant by what they wrote. So we have to rely on 2 basic things. One is artifacts and the other is structures, which if you can categorize separately. And only based on this, we try to gauge or understand or guess with rational deduction what would be the religion like. And it is a very arrow in a dark or dark shot. हम बहुत ही पूरी तरह गलत भी हो सकते हैं, पता नहीं. सो इसलिए हमारा अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ हड़प्पन रिलीजन विल बी वेरी जेनेरिक, इन वेरी जेनेरिक. दैट इज वन थिंग. सी चीज़ें यहाँ से शुरू होती है ना. यू डोंट इवन नो कि द ऑब्जेक्ट दैट यू हैव फाउंड वेदर इट इज ऑफ रिलीजियस इंपॉर्टेंस और नॉट. सील्स, हाउ डू नो वो धार्मिक थे या नहीं थे? यू हैव नो आइडिया. कुछ लोग बोलते हैं वो वही सील्स हैड मल्टीपल यूजेस, दे वेस्ट, मतलब वो ठप्पा मारने के लिए भी थे. इसको हम सील्स इसके लिए कहते हैं, वो सील कर रहे थे. तो वॉज इट अ सिंबल ऑफ दैट transaction, material transaction, exchange, identity, or was it the symbol or I card which used to wear over here as amulet? कि पीछे बांधने के लिए उसके बॉस बना हुआ है. कुछ सिर को काला काला लगा हुआ है बगल में. अच्छा, वहाँ पे अगरबत्ती जला रहे थे, शायद धूप जलाए, पता नहीं क्यों काला लगा हुआ है. यू कैन गो फॉर ट्रेस एलिमेंट एनालिसिस, दैट्स नॉट द पॉइंट. पॉइंट इज वी आर नॉट श्योर अबाउट द रिलीजियस सिग्निफिकेंस, whether it is religious or not, of any good that we find. We have to go in a very theoretical manner. That is one thing. And therefore, we should not presume that a region which was encompassed geographically by Harappan civilization, that is from north in Kashmir till Arabic Sea and from west Afghanistan till UP and in Gujarat and northern part of Maharashtra, it's a huge region. It's bigger than today's Pakistan, geographically, much bigger. In that region, do you think even at that time, जब communication इतना था भी नहीं, would there be one single religion with one single god or one single ritual practice? Do you think it is feasible? There is a high probability that there was a religious diversity even in Harappa. And most of the finds that we have today belong to Mohenjo-daro and Harappa cities, which are, although the most significant, not representative of the entire geography. So you have to go for deconstruction. कौन से एरिया में क्या मिल रहा है, विच विल गिव यू सम आइडिया ऑफ डाइवर्सिटी एज वेल. सो यू हैव डिफरेंट बरियल प्रैक्टिसेस, डिफरेंट ऑब्जेक्ट्स फाउंड इन डिफरेंट पार्ट्स. देन यू हो सकता है कि वहाँ पे मल्टी कल्चरल लोग रहते हो, कुछ इंडियन हो, कुछ नॉन इंडियन हो. इफ यू कैन यूज दिस टर्म टुडे, वी कांट यूज, बट दैट्स अ डिफरेंट स्टोरी. Some people belong to some region, they speaking different languages. We don't even know whether the script is of one language or multiple languages. There's a possibility कि at that time the entire civilization was not literate, and only a few, which is historically true for all these civilizations, only a few could speak and write and read. So it could be one language with regional diversity or regional differentiation and variation in little bit of script and accent, but of elite class. So what do I mean by that? It also means that possibly if in artifacts we rely too much on seals and copper tablets, etc., which are supposedly primarily used by elite, of whatever elite that may be, religious elite, trade wala, mercantile elite, or bureaucracy administration, we don't know. It might belong from any section of officer class or religious priestly class or trading class, but the elite people who are supposedly using it more often. So the tenets that we possibly derive from seals and copper artifacts would be suspect, you can be suspicious of this, but belong to the religion of elite. And if you rely more on terracottas, टेराकोटा इज मिट्टी का जो बनाता है जला के वो, तो वहाँ की जो मूर्तियाँ है, मदर गॉडेस है या जो कुछ है, सो दैट वुड बी परहैप्स रिप्रेजेंटिंग रिलीजन ऑफ मासेस. अगेन थियोरेटिकली बात कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है. देयर हैव बीन बिगर टेराकोटास विच आर मास प्रोड्यूस्ड एंड विच आर स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड एंड विच आर एलिट, बट दैट्स डिफरेंस. यहाँ पे नहीं है. हड़प्पा में आपको बड़ी मूर्ति नहीं मिलती. यू फाइंड ऑल द आर्टिफैक्ट्स विच आर स्मॉल, ठीक है. तो बड़ी मूर्ति तो है ही नहीं. तो फर्स्ट थिंग इज आर्टिफैक्ट्स पॉसिबली अगर आपके वो सील्स वाले हैं तो एलिट वाले होंगे, एंड अगर वो आपके टेराकोटा वाले हैं तो देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी इट इज अ पॉपुलर रिलीजन. वन थिंग. एंड सेकेंडली रीजनल डाइवर्सिटी you need to understand. So when we study artifacts, we go for example in Kalibangan, we find fire altars much more, and we find no fire altar in Harappa or Mohenjo-daro, not even single. So perhaps as you come eastwards, you have tradition of fire worship. Possibly, we don't know. The thing is, understand diversity of class and diversity of geography. That's my point. Okay. and then we begin our understanding of Harappan religion. We'll go very theoretically one by one. Oh, we have a presentation, right? Sorry. These presentations are actually not very comfortable thing to do, but in art and culture we have to go for it because it contains a lot of photos and possibly very soon audios and videos as well. Otherwise, art and culture is not possible to understand and imagine because we don't have that imagination power. We are not raised culturally, so we have to give extra effort to comprehend things, and then we can appreciate, then we can understand, and then exam में number आते हैं. ठीक है. The first thing we'll start with fertility cult. We'll look at 4 or 5 things. We'll look at firstly fertility cults and try to understand whether it was there or not. If yes, to what extent. The second thing that we will see is the godhead. किस तरह के gods थे वहाँ पे, deities, other deities apart from fertility deities or other deities and totems. Third thing is nature worship, अगर वहाँ पे है तो उसमें क्या क्या है. Fourth thing is structures, huge structures that you find and we are claiming them to be of religious significance, like Great Bath. We don't know. So structures. And finally, we have burial practices. So these are the 5 things which are the physical artifacts or attributes or material conditions that we have from which we will try to derive भगवान कैसे होगा, क्या होगा. ठीक है. So there have been innumerable finds. Innumerable means literally innumerable, not literally, of these things, of goddesses like this. Now यहाँ पे हम बोलते कि भाई देखो इतनी सारी मूर्तियाँ बनी हैं तो उनकी पूजा होती होगी. तो क्योंकि बाकी सारे रीजन्स में इन ओल्डर कल्चर्स और इन ट्राइब्स यू सी फर्टिलिटी कल्ट जनरली होता है. तो आप एथनोग्राफिक कंपैरेटिव करते हो ऐसे एंड देन वी अराइव कि भाई this must have some religious significance and because more often than not these are women figurines, तो उनका कोई fertility के साथ ताल्लुक होगा. And also we see that the tradition is continuing in India afterwards. यक्ष यक्षी etc. है. ठीक है. So that is one thing. However, can you guess what is that however? See, archaeology is a very interesting thing. सब बहुत कुछ चीज़ें वहाँ पे जो होती है प्रोविजनल होती है. Although they have their own discipline and theories and everything. Thing is, how do you know she is a religious symbol? I can practically say that it is a female figurine. But from female figurine to mother goddess, it's a huge logical jump. First of all, I have to say that it is not a toy. It could be a toy, or some of them must be toys. Not all female figurines are toys. Some of them might be simply decorative elements to put in the house, and some of them might have religious significance. Let us remove other toys and decorative part and let us arrive at the subset that is religious significance wale female figurines. The next jump that you have to take, that you are presuming that all of these figurines belong to single goddess. Why? Not necessarily. These might be same goddess or different goddesses, right? Then out of these different goddesses, then you have to presume that okay, one goddess is more important than other goddesses. So the major goddesses, minor goddesses. That is next jump. And then after that major goddess is fertility goddess or mother goddess with fertility cult. So from female figurine to fertility cult with mother goddess, you have a huge logical jump, and at each level of that jump you have to justify with lot of proofs. It is not easy. But discounting that entire understanding for a moment, let us presume that she is a mother goddess, and then only we can talk about Harappan religion. So you see some of the figures, I couldn't find the figure without name over here, so I had to take that. Some of the figures are with children. He is a child. It is like a Florence Nightingale of that time. But you see that some female figurines are associated with motherhood. That is what we know for sure. Secondly, generally there are two broad categories of all such female figurines. One is a very slim type and other is a pot belly matronly type. She could be pregnant or she could be just pot bellied, we don't know. But we have these two different categories of all the female figurines, most of it. This one comes with headgear, abhushan, kamarband and all those things. It is called mekhala later on, but still. And other one is not like that. But we can put all of them into categories. So there is some consistency, some uniformity across the figurines as well. There is some norm, some standardization. So there must be some story associated with it. She must be representing something, right? Next, to associate it with fertility cult, we have the tradition of things that happened afterwards. In Hinduism, in Buddhism, in all the sects and Indic religions, we have fertility cult. So this is Shakambari. It is in Sanchi Stupa. She is a Yakshi or Yakshini who, when touches the tree flowers. So she brings fertility to tree, right? Then you have Lajja Gauri, India, from Nepal, everywhere. So fertility has been an important thing in all the Indic religions. Okay. So this is one thing. So this is just a entire family over here, so to say. Then second thing about fertility cult. Now it's a very debatable thing. We have many such objects which could be Shivalingas. One thing we know for sure that Vedic people did not pray Shivalinga. They used to disparage the others as, oh, these people pray Shishna Deva. लिंग पूजा करते हैं ये लोग. तो जो वैदिक आर्य नहीं थे उनके बारे में आर्यों ने कहा है कि दिस पीपल आर लिंग वर्शिपर्स. बाद में जैसे जैसे एसिमिलेशन होते गया, वैदिक कल्चर फैलते गया, हर उस मोड़ के अंदर आते गए, तो लिंग पूजा भी हिंदू धर्म में आ गई. दैट इज फॉर श्योर. सो बाकी लोग वो कौन थे? वेयर दे फ्रॉम द फैमिलीज ऑफ द पीपल हु हैड माइग्रेटेड फ्रॉम हड़प्पन सेक्शन? Possibly we don't know. We have a very divided opinion amongst historians about it. There was one most important archaeologist called John Marshall. In 1920s, under his leadership, the discovery of Harappa was announced to the world, 20s and 30s. Right? Discovery of Harappa was discovered quite earlier in the time of Cunningham. Also we knew Harappa, but we did not know its significance. So Cunningham in 1860s, 70s ascribed it to some Buddhist thing. But in 1920s, 30s, John Marshall announced to the world, no, before Vedic, there was something in India, before Vedic era, and that was Harappa. So it was discovery of entire new civilization to the world. And John Marshall did a very meticulous study with the help of many Indians, obviously. In that he published a monograph and a report of the excavation in which he for the first time lined out the basic tenets of Harappan religion. And he is the one who connected it with the later day Hinduism. He says that there are many elements in Harappa which coincide with Hindu practices, in which one of the elements that he talked about was possibly linga worship. It is now vehemently opposed by many historians कि भाई तब तो हिंदुज्म था ही नहीं, कैसे होगा, क्या होगा वगैरह. लेकिन UPSC has asked this question many times in mains, not in the specifically religious context, sometimes in religious, sometimes cultural, sometimes overall. कि हड़प्पा के बाद क्या बचा? मुसलसल सिलसिला चलते आ रहा है तब से. आफ्टर डिक्लाइन ऑफ हड़प्पा इट डिस्पर्स्ड, देन व्हाट कंटिन्यूड, चेंज एंड कंटिन्यूटी क्या थी, कौन सी चीज़ें आई, कब से आई, कहाँ आई, क्यों आई? द क्वेश्चन हैज बीन आस्क्ड एटलीस्ट 5 times इन लास्ट 25 years इन UPSC, समटाइम्स इन GS, समटाइम्स इन ऑप्शनल. ठीक है. सो पॉइंट इज दिस इज फाउंड इन कालीबंगन. नो वी डोंट नो वेदर इट वाज शिवलिंगा और नॉट, or what they called it, but it looks like that. But the point is we have various such objects. Some of them might be Shivalingas. This looks like Yoni as well. Or some of them, it is said, might be just small toys. Some of them might be chess खेलते ना, उसके प्यादे होते हैं, खेलने के खिलौने होंगे. कुछ तो ऐसे हैं कि जो I don't know what it is called in English or Hindi. In my mother tongue, it's called Olamba. सो जब दीवार बनाते हैं ऊपर से रस्सी खींचते हैं और देखते हैं कि हाइट सही है कि नहीं, उसका लेवल में है कि नहीं, तो वो जो है उसका भी टुकड़े हो सकते हैं ये। सो देयर आर वेरियस थियरीज कि ये किसके लिए यूज किया जाता है, एंड वन ऑफ द थियरीज इज दैट दिस रिप्रेजेंट फर्टिलिटी कल्ट। द पॉइंट बीइंग, फर्टिलिटी कल्ट की हम जो बात कर रहे हैं वो इन फर्टिलिटी कल्ट आइदर इन मदर गॉडेस और सिंबॉलिकली। But there is no much doubt about whether there was fertility cult or not. The doubt is in what aspect, in what respect, in what form, and to what extent. That is the question. So first aspect of Harappan religion is fertility cult था। कैसे था, कितना था, क्या था, these are details for historians, let them be for them only. हम जीएस के लिए आगे चलते हैं। Then you have lot of deities on seals and copper tablets. So fertility cult was perhaps of the popular religion. Now we are coming to seals and copper tablets. Again, possibly elite class and their religion. And you see a lot of animals are represented on copper tablets and seals and sealings. You know difference between seal and sealing? क्या फर्क होता है? Sir? We read both the words seals and sealings in our NCERTs, but what is the difference? See, एक है आपका सील, सीलिंग, ठीक है, तो उसका एग्जैक्ट इनवर्स होगा वो। ठप्पा जब मारूंगा तो फिर आएगा, निशान तो यहाँ भी आएगा, उसी का आएगा, एग्जैक्ट इनवर्स आएगा। तो वन इज सील जहाँ पे प्रोट्रूजन होगा, वन सीलिंग जहाँ पे अंदर से होगा, ठीक है। सो सील एंड सीलिंग, sometimes you find seals, sometimes you find sealing. Seals are made of various materials, stone है, स्टीटाइट है, फियांस है, whatever. स्टीटाइट is a different kind of composition. फियांस भी वो बनाने में बहुत मशक्कत करनी पड़ती है, आसान नहीं होता है, ठीक है। We have a lot of seals and lot of them have this script which we have not deciphered. This is a fish symbol. हड़प्पन स्क्रिप्ट के बारे में अगर सवाल कोई पूछे, they have not asked so far. I am not sure whether पूछेंगे नहीं पूछेंगे, but I will tell you in brief. It has not been deciphered yet, and there are various reasons for it. One of the oldest languages that were deciphered were Brahmi, and then we also have this ancient Greek language. इजिप्टोलॉजी में जब रोजेटा स्टोन मिला था, वो फेमस कहानी है, नेपोलियन गया था। But in modern times, with the help of computational technology, we have been able to decipher only Linear B. It is one famous language called Linear B. But Linear A है, that has not been deciphered. इंडिया में ही कम से कम 10-15 language not deciphered yet. Indus is the very famous script. We are yet to decipher language and also the script. एक तो पता हो, दूसरा पता चले, वो दो ही नहीं पता. We don't even know whether there is one language or multiple languages. Earlier archaeologists ने जो एक्सप्रेशन किया उसमें कॉन्टेक्स्ट गायब हो गया, तो अच्छे से नहीं करते, तो उनका हम सीक्वेंस भी निकाल नहीं पाते, तो हमें इवोल्यूशन नहीं पता चलता. So there are various theories. One theory is it belongs to Indo-Aryan group of languages. Other theory is that it belongs to Dravidian languages. उसके बारे में कई वो ब्राहुई वहाँ पे पाई जाती है, वो सब चीज़ें हैं. तो ये फिश सिंबल जो है, इट इज़ अ वेरी फेमस सिंबल. यू विल फाइंड इट वेरी ऑफन एट मेनी प्लेसेस. इट इज रिटन फ्रॉम राइट टू लेफ्ट and then you come from left to right again if it is second line. But generally on Harappan seals we find very few characters together. हमें ऐसे 100, 200, 1000 कैरेक्टर साथ में मिले ही नहीं है. जब कंप्यूटेशनल एनालिसिस चलेगा कैसे? सैम्पलिंग इतना अपना दिक्कत वाला है. वी आर सैम्पल्स विच आर वेरी अनरिप्रेजेंटेटिव कि 5-6 सिंबल साथ साथ आ जाए. इट बिकम्स डिफिकल्ट, राइट? एंड देन देयर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स है, मतलब ठीक है. लेकिन अब मतलब वी आर नॉट इनिशियली वी आर नॉट श्योर वेदर इट इज पिक्टोग्राफिक स्क्रिप्ट और लोगोग्राफिक है कि क्या है. मतलब आर दिस वॉवेल्स एंड कॉन्सोनेंट्स और दिस इमेजेस पिक्चर्स क्या है? मतलब वहाँ से शुरुआत है अपनी, इतनी बेसिक शुरुआत है. Nonetheless, let us come back to religion. So I have taken these numbers from Iravatan Mahadevan. He is a very famous Tamil and he is called as the father of Indian epigraphy. ठीक है, epigraphy is study of inscriptions. So Iravatan Mahadevan. So at that time in his book he had given this data. It might be updated. I don't have the latest data. लेकिन ये जो data है कि there are almost 5,000 inscriptions that are found in Harappa, Mohenjo-daro primarily, of which 1,500 have some animals engraved on it. and of 1500, this is the proportion. Almost 1159 are unicorn. So unicorn, mythological, real, whatever, is the most often represented animal on Harappan seals. Then you have humpedless bull, then elephants, then humped bulls, that is zebu, then tigers, hare, and buffalo. Now, which animal is not over here? The question asked by UPSC. Cow. Cow. Huh? No, cow is the answer. Cow, which is very important to Vedic religion, is not represented on Harappan seals at all. हॉर्स भी तो नहीं है, लेकिन चलो हॉर्स तो था ही नहीं वहाँ पे, उस समय बात अलग है. काऊ तो शायद वहाँ पे थी भी पॉसिबल है, क्योंकि भाई बैल है, काऊ तो होगी, है ना, इस पे नहीं है, तो इट्स एन एनिग्मा. बट नाउ माय पॉइंट इज, if I know this sample, it's a simple fact, it's not a, it's a data, it's not information. Now I have to extract information from data. The raw data was assemblage of seals. I have made it an organized data in the form of such statistical sheet. So what is the inference or information that I draw from it? The animal which is represented most, matlab, is it more important animal? Let us presume that a clan to which this totem belongs, a symbol belongs, is more numerous clan. जैसे majority लोगों का वो symbol है, तो by default उनका नेटवर्क बड़ा होगा, तो डोमिनेट करेंगे. तो द सिंबल ऑफ राइनो नहीं, ये यूनिकॉर्न, बी इज रिप्रेजेंटिंग द पीपल हु वर डोमिनेंट एट दैट टाइम. ऑन द कॉन्ट्ररी, ऐसे भी तो हो सकता है कि देयर आर सम पीपल हु आर सिटिंग एट द वेरी टॉप. एट द वेरी टॉप द रूम इज लेस, so people are not numerous and they are the most powerful, and their symbol counts very less because it is so important, it doesn't come very often. So possibly buffalo powerful. The thing is, आर्कियोलॉजी में इतनी दिक्कतें होती, वी डोंट नो. तो ज़्यादा प्रोपोर्शन का क्या है? सी देयर आर मेनी थियरीज एंड एक प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट्स, उसके तरीके हैं. आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू मेक इट इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू इन सच अ वे, इट कॉमिक लगेगा थोड़ा सा, लेकिन इट इज़ नॉट सच अ डिफिकल्ट, सच अ ईजी थिंग. लेट अस गो बाय राइनो. Rhino is the most important animal which is most often represented. In front of rhino you have such symbol like this always, by the way. We don't know what does it mean. This is the one of the first rhinos that was found by John Marshall and published in his report. And then you have other animals, elephant, bull, etc. See, you have rhino over here. Am I been saying rhino only? Sorry, I meant यूनिकॉर्न, वेरी सॉरी, अब वो दिमाग में आ गया. और राइनो है, लेकिन देखो आंसर वाज काउ, नॉट राइनो. सो यू हैव एलिफेंट. बट सी सम ऑफ द एनिमल्स आर, सी हम्प्ड बुल एंड हम्पलेस बुल, इट हैज ओन सिग्निफिकेंस. हाँ, किसानी में आप, क्योंकि हम्प अपने आप नहीं आता वैसे, वो हम्प है मतलब आप उसको जोत लगा सकते हो और नहीं लगा सकते. बिना हम्प का जोत कैसे लगाओगे? हल चलेगा नहीं. तो इट हैज़ अ लॉट ऑफ इम्प्लीकेशन फॉर एग्रीकल्चरल इकोनॉमी एंड टेक्नोलॉजी फॉर एग्रीकल्चर. But still, you have some composite animals. ठीक है. Now this was a paper from which we got this. अलग अलग एनिमल्स को जोड़ के फिर ये एनिमल बना है. So you have real animals, you have composite animals which are some of them mythological as well. Point is, it does have some religious symbol, some mystical religious. It is not necessarily only about economy or something and sealings and transactions. It has some religious significance. ठीक है, अब क्या है पता नहीं. But you have quite more than that, other ways in which animals were represented. So you have these toys, possibly toys again. So toys on wheels are very famous in various parts of Harappa, and they are made of various things. This is terracotta, then this is copper, right? And they are very beautiful as well. They are very naturalistic. Then you have naturalistic belief system. अब यहाँ पे जाएंगे हम, भगवान को किस तरह रिप्रेजेंट किया जाता था. ठीक है. The most common deity that is found we are calling it deity now. Let us presume that it was a deity. It is horned deity, जिसको दो सींग थे, हॉर्न थे. तो वो कहाँ कहाँ पाई जाती है? The first one is the very famous Pashupati seal. अब should we call it Pashupati or not? That's a different debate. There are many. It is called three-headed. शंकर के तीन मुंह थे. If you go to Elephanta cave, we have शंकर with three heads. ठीक है, तो तीन मुंह है, लेकिन क्या सच में तीन मुंह है? It's just a headgear. We are not sure, but we see some of these things. So, by the way, Pashupati seal is not the only single seal. Huh? There are various such seals of horned deities sitting in that posture. It is not the only single seal. That, but in NCERT we see only one photo. We presume it is only one single individual unique seal. It is not so. Huh? So, you have this person sitting in that Padmasana type posture, in yogic posture. So, first presumption is it has three heads, maybe. Second is ethiphallic. His penis seems like it is an erect penis, but again we don't know है कि नहीं है. शिवलिंग की बात चल रही है. Then your yogic posture is in meditation. Again, it's a presumption. And then you have these animals around here. You can see four animals. Then here also you have animals. So when you say Shiva was Pashupati, Pashupati seal, Pashu ka Pati, the lord of animals. So for this single seal, you are making many presumptions. Three-headed, ethiphallic, yogic posture, Pashupati, and therefore possibly Proto-Shiva. This is too much reading backwards into history from what happened in Hinduism later on. So again, you have historians divided. Some people say, no, it is a Pashupati, Proto-Shiva. Some say, we don't know, right? But we have various such horned, we know for sure that it's a deity sitting in this posture with horns. That is the minimal that everyone agrees upon. So it is a horned deity. This is from Mohenjo-daro and again Mohenjo-daro. You have one skeleton in Balathal, it's in Rajasthan, found sitting in that posture. Maybe Samadhi posture, we don't know, of that era. Okay. Anyway, but horned deity is represented in multiple ways on multiple objects. It is not only on seals. There is no single seal, by the way, multiple seals, and it is not only on seals, it is at various places. So you have one terracotta figure of horn, and there are many. I have just taken one figure. There are many such figures of terracotta with horn, with human, and you have some lines over here. So they call it tiger man. Okay? Because in other sculptures, the photos are not here. You can see the tiger beard very closely, very emphasized way, very prominently. So tiger man with a horn. Then you have this pottery. Here you can see horn. Then you have other figure from Banavali, where you have person who is controlling animals or tailing. So master of Pashupati, possibly. You have other horned deities. Here is one picture in which there is a struggle going on between a horned person standing behind tree with a tiger. Right? Again, a horned deity sitting. This is the terracotta cake, which is very famous. This terracotta cake is very famous. You have horned deity. And here you have a female standing between two people who are warring. So you see the spear coming and going into this and vice versa. And both of them have held her hands. तो क्या दोनों इसके लिए झगड़ा कर रहे हैं, या फिर दोनों झगड़ा कर रहे हैं, बीच में इनको रोक रही है, ये देवी है कोई, we don't know, but there is besides half person, half animal with horns. So first thing is horned deity is something which is very important. It is represented on multiple ways on multiple things. That is second thing. Thirdly, it is not only single deity, it has some mythology associated with it, some narrative, some story. That's why you have animals all around. There is some story behind it. It is not a random thing. Now you have stories over here. So you have narratives of horned deities also. We don't know what they are. We can't read. Right? ठीक है मैम. Again, horned deity. Now this horned deity, these are horns sitting in the yogic posture, supposedly yogic posture, and there is something built around it. Now, no temple has been found in Harappa at all, but there is some structure represented. I am not claiming that temples existed. If a question is asked in MCQ, in civil service prelim examination was, were there temples? There were no temples. That is undoubtedly true. But at the level higher than UPSC preparation, there is some room for some doubt at some level, howsoever small it may be, that there could have been some structures to put all these images. And this is one example. Then you have such people again. This animal human interaction is very vividly portrayed on various objects. So you have various different scenes. Buffalo is attacking humans and lot of scenes in which humans and animals are fighting. Here you see buffalo is coming and with his horn putting 4 people in the sky, in the air. 1, 2, 3, 4. हवा में उड़ गए, यहाँ इधर इधर हो गए. Because they are capturing the movement also. घबराए थे buffalo से. ठीक है. So this is the only thing. हमने इसको नीचे लिया है because these are not visible over here. तो मैंने इसका ये ढूंढा line schematic और उसको नीचे रखा था. You can read what is happening. This thing is this thing and this thing is this thing. ठीक है. हाँ, यहाँ भी है बफेलो है, सिंह है, आदमी हवा में उड़ गया है. हाँ, जल्लीकट्टू. हाँ, the Dravidian, right? Maybe. We don't. हाँ. Then you have human tiger conflict as well. This is a single human holding 2 tigers in hand. ठीक है. Then you have some sacrifice of animal, and behind the sacrifice, beside the sacrifice, you have a person again with horn in that posture. So was there a practice of animal sacrifice? That's my next question. Because gods come with some kind of worship, some kind of ritual. Some of them are violent, some of them are non-violent. So there is a doubt among people. Here you have again tiger consists, elephant is watching. See, eyes of the elephant watching. ठीक है. So point is, animal sacrifice था क्या? Possibly था. In many religions in India there is animal sacrifice still today. Although आजकल discourage किया जाता है, पेटा वगैरह आ गया है, animal rights की बात करते हैं. Article 21 applies to animals as well, but still animal sacrifice historically has been a very prominent thing all across the world. And there is a possibility of human sacrifice as well. I don't know whether I have that thing over here. Yeah, this thing only. When you say Kalimungan goddess, again the same thing. Some people have interpreted it as if this goddess is stopping the war between the two. Some people are saying that this woman is being sacrificed to this god. So some people read it as if it is a human sacrifice. So there are multiple. This is just one interpretation, by the way. There are multiple interpretations. So human sacrifice, animal sacrifice are possible rituals at that time. Possible. And if they are true, they would be not far off from reality because बहुत जगह होते हैं वो anthropology. And then you have not only these zoomorphic type deities, you also have deities in tree. That is very, very interesting and very prominent. Again, next element, tree deity you will find at many places. Now there is this tree. This is the main, क्या बोलते हैं? Trunk, not stem. Stem is secondary. Trunk is primary. Sorry. Main trunk of tree. यहाँ से पत्ता आ रहा है. यहाँ पे stem है. ये पत्ता है. And there is a person standing inside that. Again with horns. So possibly it is a tree deity. उसके सामने यहाँ पे sacrifice दिया जा रहा है. And these are onlookers. And many people say these are women onlookers based on the clothes. So female 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the number 7 is again important because when you have to connect Harappa with later day Hinduism, this 7th thing becomes very important. 7 priests were there in Vedic religion. Yeah, Sapta Mata, Sapta Devi, Sapta Rishi, Sapta Graha, everything is Sapta, Sapta, Sapta. Okay. So if you want to read backwards, if you at all want to read backwards, I don't know how far you can do that. It is very doubtful. But still, 7 women figures with wearing horns again. You can see horn, some horn with some headgear with horn. So they have some ritual significance. Perhaps they were priests. Sacrifice, fish comes. No, this fish is not Dravidian. Okay. In Punjab they eat a lot of fish. You know that? Punjab eat a lot of fish. है ना मैम? फिश पकौड़े नहीं खाते? No, riverine fish तो होता है ना. So then you have tree deity. This goat that is being sacrificed, because of its horn, it is identified by some historians as मरखोर goat. मरखोर हम पढ़ते हैं environment में. Then you have cultic symbols. Now this is the people tree. A people tree comes very often in Harappan seals. So people, which is religiously significant even today, was possibly also religiously important at that time. People tree. It is called ficus religiosa in technical terms. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 again. ठीक है. And apart from people tree, we have some abstract cultic symbols. So you have again 7. You have swastik. Now whether they called it swastik or not, we don't know. Whether they considered it auspicious or not, it is our only guess. And if at all they called something else and still considered it auspicious, what was that auspiciousness, and is that the same as we call it today? We don't know. But there is some similarity of form. Meanings keep changing, evolving. And this is some completely abstract seal. Again, next. So you can see the people tree, headgear, everything again appearing not only on seals but on burials. There are various types of burials, and we see such symbols on burials as well. And this was found in Sanauli, is one of the biggest late Harappan cemetery found in western UP in last few years. Okay, there are two cemeteries that are coming to prominence: Rakhigadi and Sanauli. So this is found in Sanauli with some again headgear, etc. So now come to the last part, second last part, is structures and rituals. So far we have seen horn deities, fertility cult, and tree symbol, etc. Now come to structures. 3 structures we talk about: temples, great bath, fire altars, which are attributed religious significance by many archaeologists. This is the photo of 2-story stairs. There is nothing besides it. They go nowhere, the structure doesn't exist anymore. And again, John Marshall at that time claimed that it leads to a temple. There is no proof whatsoever. But these stairs are just besides a granary. Okay, they might be leading to something because there are various households with lot of stairs, but these stairs are particularly larger or bigger stairs. Catching? But if MCQ is asked, temple did not exist. That is clear. Ritual bathing, unproven presumption of ritual bath and not sanitary needs. So this is a huge tank. We know it was filled with water because of the gypsum and waterproof thing that they have done to the bottom. So if they ask question on technological aspects of Harappan, we talk about, oh देखो waterproof कर दिया था. So waterproof किया था, size भी बड़ा है, but that does not necessarily mean it was a ritual bathing. It could have been just water tank. तैरने बच्चे जाते थे. रिचुअल एस्पेक्ट कहाँ से आता है? रिचुअल एस्पेक्ट आता है कि इसके चारों तरफ कई सारे छोटे छोटे खाने बने हुए हैं. सो टू इंटरप्रेट द मीनिंग ऑफ ग्रेट बाथ, यू डोंट लुक एट ओनली ग्रेट बाथ, यू लुक एट द एंटायर लैंडस्केप. उसके आसपास क्या है, उसका कॉन्टेक्स्ट कहाँ है, इज इट इन लोअर टाउन और सिटाडेल, इज इट इन पेरीफेरी और इन द मिड, उसके आस मतलब यू हैव टू लुक एट द एंटायर स्ट्रक्चर टू गेट द आइडिया इसका इंपॉर्टेंस क्या होगा. एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट यू गेस दैट इट वॉज पॉसिबली फॉर रिचुअल बाथ, because such bathing is also prevalent at that time in various other cultures. Okay. And then you have fire altars that I talked about initially. These are not found in all the places. You have Kalibangan, Banawali, Lothal, Nageshwar. Kalibangan, Banawali, Lothal are in north Haryana side, and Nageshwar is in Gujarat. Nageshwar is also famous as a site. Harappa, we know, dependent on a lot of trade. And trade was not only of the final goods but also of raw materials, because they procured a variety of raw materials from variety of places, and they used to go outside their geography to procure those raw materials. Logistical supply chains थे उनके पूरे. So Nageshwar happens to be in Gujarat, and Nageshwar used to supply fish scales and bones to entire Harappa. तो वहाँ से मछली पकड़ेगा, उसके ऊपर काम होगा, कारागिरी होगी, and then वहाँ से सब जगह जाएगा. Sukur in Balochistan, not Balochistan, Cholistan area. It is known to be a famous place for supplying stones all across Harappa. We know in the north we have Shortughai in Afghanistan side. It was possibly for two reasons, either to procure lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, or we have also found the bones of Bactrian camels in huge numbers over there. Not in that side specifically, but around that side, and even in north, because that belongs to different civilizations altogether. So possibly it was camel trade. So for raw material they used to go at many places. Nageshwar is one such place which was supplying fish bones. And on fish bones you see बहुत अच्छी सुंदर कारागिरी की है. Although not part of this series, if you see, just go and Google Harappan artifacts and craft work, you will find it very interesting. And you don't have such fire altars in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. So what are these fire altars? ये यहाँ पे है. They are specifically built. The clay का boundary है, alignment है, and in some of them you find charcoal or burnt thing. So fire भी है. ठीक है. Iranians used to pray fire. Vedic people used to pray fire. So again, if those people who want to connect Harappa to later religion, देखो वहाँ भी अग्नि पूजा होती थी, शायद यज्ञ करते थे यहाँ पे. ठीक है. But there is a tradition of fire worship in some places in Harappan civilization. That is for sure. So some of them, only some of them, apart from having some charcoal-like thing, also have the residual elements of bones of oxen. तो क्या oxen को बलि चढ़ाया था? We don't know. The final part is obviously burials and cremation. Now burials, interesting thing, are much more found than cremation. If you go by the proof, physical material proof available, there are a lot of burials and very less cremations available. What does it mean? Burial was a dominant practice, obviously. But now think of the entire picture. It is a huge civilization where lakhs, if not millions, lakhs of people resided across the civilization. Compared to that kind of population, the amount of cemeteries and burials that we have found are very less. We have in Harappa R37, very famous cemetery. In Rakhegadi we have, in Sanauli, in Dholavira, in Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro is Mount of Dead only. उसका नाम ही है Mohenjo-daro, Mount of Dead. But if you take all these burials together, give some discount, add something that got destroyed over time because of dissipation into nature, etc., degradation and all, still with the amount of population we suspect to be living in those cities, these are very less burials. So which is the more dominant practice, burials or other? We don't know. What we have is burial. History में खास बात वो interesting है कि proof of absence and absence of proof are two different things. ठीक है. Absence of proof है, but that does not translate necessarily into proof of absence. So you have to be very suspicious and open-minded. So very many cemeteries, burials more common than cremation. Harappa, Kalibangan, Farmana is in Haryana, very famous site. Farmana, Lothal, Dholavira, and most recently the two which shot to fame is Sanauli and Rakhegadi. The method is generally north-south in extended, that is supine, like this is supine, extended है, north-south direction में है. Generally head comes to north and leg come to south, most common. But you also have symbolic burials in which you have burial, there is no remain inside it. तो कोई कहीं मर गया होगा जंगल में, पता नहीं, गायब होगी बॉडी, लेकिन बरी तो करना है, श्रद्धा है. घर परिवार का आदमी मर गया तो पूजा तो भाई श्राद्ध तो होना चाहिए. ठीक है, तो सिंबॉलिकली बरी कर दो. देन यू हैव फ्रैक्शनल बरियल्स. फ्रैक्शनल बरियल में होता क्या है कि मरा कहीं और है, उसके कुछ टुकड़े शरीर के बचे, उनको टुकड़े एक डाल के बरी कर दो. दो चार हाथ बचे हुए हैं, पैर बचे हुए हैं, मुंडी बची हुई है, जंगल में रहते थे, जाते पता नहीं, फॉर सम रीजन यू हैव बॉडी विच इज नॉट कंप्लीटली प्रेजेंट, सम पार्ट्स ऑफ बॉडी आर प्रेजेंट, यू जस्ट बरी देम. फ्रैक्शनल बरियल. समटाइम्स फ्रैक्शनल बरियल ऑल्सो मीन्स इन अदर कॉन्टेक्स्ट कि भाई आधा जला हुआ है, पूरा नहीं जला हुआ, बरी कर दो. In any sense. Then you have coffin burial. Coffins are not Christians, by the way. Don't have that false notion. You have coffin burial in good number in Harappan time as well. You have joint burials. एक ही कब्र के अंदर पति पत्नी, माँ बाप, माँ बेटा जैसे भी हो, साथ में दफन कर दो. वी हैव दैट. यू हैव सेकेंडरी बरियल्स, मतलब कहीं और मरा हुआ है, कुछ कर दिया, उसके बाद उसको ले लिया, दोबारा दफन कर. सेकेंडरी बरियल भी होते हैं. तो पॉइंट इज यू हैव वैरायटी ऑफ बरियल प्रैक्टिसेस. एंड व्हाई इज इट सो? अब मेरे घर में कोई अगर मरेगा कल जाके, तो मैं एक को ऐसा एक ही, ऑब्वियसली यार श्रद्धा है, बिलीफ सिस्टम है. इट्स नॉट जस्ट मार्केट में गए और आज लाल रंग का कपड़ा गया, कल पीले का कपड़ा, ऐसे नहीं होता है. सो डाइवर्सिटी इन बरियल प्रैक्टिस sometimes at one site and sometimes in different sites represents diversity in belief system. Why do we bury, by the way? In many burials, along with the body, we have some goods. They are called grave goods. What does it signify? Notion of life after death. कोई आत्मा होगा, ये कोई अगले जर्नी पे चला गया है, एंड थिंग्स दैट दैट पर्सन लाइक्ड व्हेन ही वाज अलाइव शुड हेल्प हिम रीड दैट पाथ आफ्टर लाइफ. देयर इज सम बिलीफ इन आफ्टर लाइफ, अदरवाइज देयर इज नो बरियल. ठीक है, तो व्हाट इज दैट बिलीफ, वो आपको ढूंढना पड़ेगा. देयर कम्स रिलीजन वाला पार्ट, एंड दैट यू कैन डिसाइफर बेस्ड ऑन टाइप ऑफ बरियल and the goods that are in burial. Harappa civilization is known for being very frugal. In very few burials you will find along with the dead body the grave goods are there, and whatever goods are there, they are very ordinary. मटका है, ये है, वो है. Unlike the contemporary Egyptian civilization, बड़ा सोना भर के रखा है वहाँ पे, अंदर आभूषण है. यहाँ पे जनरली मिलता नहीं है. आई एम नॉट सेइंग they were not poor people. ठीक है, वो उसको आराम से इस्तेमाल करेंगे, एंजॉय करेंगे, क्यों डालना इसके अंदर. पॉइंट इज they did not believe in such ostentatious kind of flaunting. We'll see that. This is the Sanoli burial, largest late Harappan cemetery in western UP. It's just a drone image. You can see coffin over here. Here's a person. The excavation is still going on. Again, your diversity in death. We have a very big royal coffin, and besides that, you also have a very small typical coffin. So coffin may be, if you have difference in quality and craftsmanship, it shows the difference of class. कौन अमीर मरा, कौन गरीब मरा. ठीक है. Then you have fragmented bones inside coffin, secondary burial. पहले कहीं मरा था तो डाल दिया यहाँ पे, बरी कर दिया. So diversity of burial practice. सेकंड, यहाँ पे जो मरा है उसके लिए भाई इतनी बड़ी कॉफिन बन रही है अमीरों की तरह, और यहाँ पे ऐसे दफन कर दिया. ठीक है, क्लास सिस्टम पता चलती है. This is Rakhi Gadi, and this is a couple. He is looking at her even after death for so many centuries. ठीक है, छोड़ा नहीं है अभी तक उसने, और शायद हाथ में अभी पकड़ा है, पता नहीं. So point is, so it is called Rakhi Gadi couple. आर्कियोलॉजी के पेपर में जहाँ से फोटो उठाया, रिपोर्ट पढ़ रहा था, इट इज इन द पेपर मेंशन राखी गढ़ी कपल. ठीक है, एंड दिस इज द फोटो फ्रॉम टॉप अगेन. Rakhi Gadi has 6 mounds and not all of them are still excavated. This work is still going on. Now grave goods. But grave goods are not very rich, but they show what are the objects that were considered important. So emotional level पे उनको important लगता है, पता चलता है. And then finally anticipation of Hinduism. I think I have gave you enough hints already about, if the question is asked, what remained after Harappa when it got dissipated or declined. So I have given a separate handout for that, if you can find the third handout. Harappan religion, anticipation of later day Hinduism, question mark. In it there are 3 articles. One is small article in the beginning. Then second is legacy of Indus Valley civilization overall by a professor from Cambridge called Dilip Chakrabarty. He has written a very big book, number of books on archaeology, उससे copy किया है. And then you have typical populist Devdutt Patnaik, mythologist, and his article on relation between Harappan religion and Hinduism. So I think this thing will give you from religion angle, culture angle, enough material to write an answer in mains if they ask. ठीक है. So that was about Harappan. Any question? I think Harappan religion is thoroughly dealt with. You can write any answer. You have enough evidences and photos in your mind now.
ये सभ्यता अचानक नहीं मर गई जैसा कि पहले माना जाता था. उसे अपने स्वरूप में परिवर्तनों के दौर से गुजरना पड़ा. 1600 से 1900 ईसा पूर्व का ये परिवर्तित रूप वाला दौर उत्तरकालीन हड़प्पा के नाम से जाना जाता है। इसके बाद आर्यों का फैलाव हुआ और जैसा कि इतिहास में होता आया है, उन्होंने पुरानी सभ्यता के प्रभाव को धीरे धीरे स्वीकारा और उसके कई पहलू अपना लिए।
ये महज एक इत्तेफाक था कि मोहनजोदड़ो और हड़प्पा की खोज हो पाई। इसमें कोई शक नहीं कि हिंदुस्तान में पुराने शहर और प्राचीन आलार अभी तक जमींदोज हैं। इस सिंधु घाटी तहजीब और आज के हिंदुस्तान के बीच कई जगह सिलसिला टूट गया है। उन टूटी कड़ियों के बारे में हम बहुत कम जानते हैं, फिर भी एक मुसलसल रिश्ता बनता चला आ रहा है वक्त के साथ साथ लगातार, जो आज के हिंदुस्तान को 6-7 हजार साल पुराने माजी से जोड़ता है, जबकि सिंधु घाटी तहजीब का आगाज हुआ होगा। हमें वाकई हैरत होती है कि मोहनजोदड़ो और हड़प्पा में कितनी सारी चीजें हैं, जैसे वेशभूषा और दस्तकारी, जिनमें हमें आज की रिवायतों और रहन सहन की झलक मिलती है।
सारम्या नगरी महान राजा, सामंत जनवे कहाँ, विद्वत राजसभा कहाँ मद भरी, चंद्राननाए कहाँ, चारण किरण गान तान गर्वी, युवराज है अब कहाँ, डूबे सब अब रह गई हैं यादें, कालाय तस्मै नमः।
Hit the bell icon to never miss an update from Level Up IAS. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.